Mine took 27 hours. Mama's skinny.
Here, come here and see what Dad's all glittered out. He's room 4.
He looks like he's in like some kind of galaxy thing.
Room 4 and skinny.
I am in radiology, about to have a small bowel follow through. So yesterday the game plan was to order a CT. We did that, but because the CT contrast is contraindicated with mast cell disease, the contrast was on my allergy list, even though I had technically never had received the IV contrast for a CT and had a reaction to it. I'd only had the IV CT contrast years ago before I had a mast cell problem. So CT blocked that, so then the doctor wanted to order an MRI. They ordered oral MRI. It's basically an MRI of the small bowel. So they ordered the MRI to do both IV and the oral MRI contrast, and then that was blocked as well. But we were very confused as to why that was being blocked, because that contrast was not on my allergy list. And we still never received an answer as to why. The GI doctor had to call and beg, and after begging, finally a radiologist agreed to do a small bowel follow-through. And the small bowel follow-through will show any bowel obstructions and ileus, which we already know I have repeated problems with both. It will show if there's like a smaller tumor somewhere in the GI tract, and it will also show if there is a leak at my resection site. The GI doctor wanted me to have gastrographin, which is more water soluble, I think, and the radiologist went and called MRI to see why we were not doing MRI instead, because that would give us the better imaging. They're afraid, is what it boils down to. And he didn't want to give me the Omnipaque or gastrographin, bless you, contrast, because it is, bless you, higher, there's a higher allergic response in the general population. And so he felt safer with giving barium. But my GI doctor didn't necessarily want us to do barium because it is more constipating, whereas the other will provoke diarrhea. I ended up being stuck doing the barium, and we've administered about 200 mLs. I'm starting to get pretty distended because I've not had that much in me in a long time, and it was moving, it was progressing good at first, and now it's just not, it's stuck. So we're just waiting, getting imaging every few minutes to see. I am still alive after my barium experience. They gave me pre-meds with steroids. I swelled up a little bit after about like 120 mLs was pushed in, but we did some of like my rescue meds, and then that fixed that right there, and it didn't return. Small bowel follow through is generally what you do is you drink the barium, and they can watch it over fluoroscopy as it goes down your esophagus, through your stomach, into your duodenum, and then through your jejunum. It's supposed to take 1 to 5 hours for that to happen with a normal person. My mother.
Oops. Hi.
Yeah, so it's supposed to take 1 to 5 hours for a normal person to do a small bowel follow through. Mine took 27 hours. So if the small bowel follow through has confirmed nothing else, it's confirmed that my intestines are a piece of crap, for lack of a better word. And mine didn't even have to travel through my stomach or duodenum because we put it directly into my GJ tube and the jejunum. It did not show that I have a leak at my resection site. Honestly, I was kind of hoping I had a leak at my resection site because that would give an answer as to why this whole infection phenomenon keeps happening. These episodes are always associated with some sort of obstruction. I start getting really thirsty, like the day before it happens. Then I get my obstruction and ileus pain. And then I start running a fever, my blood pressure drops. I get tachycardic, my procalcitonin and lactate increase, but my white count stays normal. You give 1 dose of antibiotics, and once that finally kicks in like 6 to 12 hours, then all of my labs trend downwards and my fever goes away and the pain lessens. Along with my regular obstruction pain is this really severe tenderness near the resection site down low. So that's why we were thinking there was something up with the resection. But the small bowel follow-through and the indium scan confirmed that there's no abscess, because that definitely would have shown up, and there is no leak. The small bowel follow-through confirmed nothing but that I have an ileus and a partial small bowel obstruction. It's not mechanical, it's pseudo-obstruction, so there's no intervention aside from what I'm already doing, which is continuous G-tube drainage and NPO and TPN, that they can do for that. So I am being discharged, and we are going to pray that this infection doesn't start building back up as soon as I'm off antibiotics like it has the last 2 times. So there's also the fact that my liver enzymes were increasingly getting elevated over the last few weeks, and now that I'm on antibiotics, they're back down. The good GI doctor who was following my case once I was admitted seems to think that my gallbladder is still an issue because the testing that we've currently done on my gallbladder will not necessarily rule out an infection of my gallbladder. It just rules out that there's no stones in the bile duct and that my gallbladder is full of extensive sludge. Well, I have a follow-up appointment with GI to get a HIDUS scan done outpatient. I haven't had a HIDUS scan done since I was 13. I got very, very ill. I swore I would never do it again, but here I am. We're kind of desperate here, so we're going to see what my gallbladder is functioning at, and if it is not functioning, then I will have to have surgery to have that removed. That's from a game called Woody Puzzle, and it's very addicting. It's like the most addicting thing since Candy Crush, I'd say, except I'm the champion.
See,
I've got a score of over 7,000.
she's a bragger.
Because no one's found any real answers, and now that the GI specialist has switched for the week, the new one is not the most familiar with my case, nor is he being the most helpful. I am getting a prescription for Xifaxan to help treat small bacteria, intestinal overgrowth, although he admitted that that's not going to cause 103.4 fever. It could be contributing to the situation, and so I'm just going to take the antibiotic after I'm done with my course of Rocephin and see what happens. I'm now seeing why the GI doctor did not want me to use barium. About 3 days of it sitting in there, now it's causing problems. The GI nurse said to do different enemas and suppositories to try to get it out of me, because barium hardens in the GI tract and can create a blockage, and I already had a blockage before I was discharged, so the barium in combination with my other partial obstruction has just not been good. I've been in a ton of pain, and going to the emergency room, I don't even see how that's going to help, but I first tried a glycerin suppository. That one seemed to work the most, but it has added ingredients in it, one being EDTA. They use that a lot in cosmetics, but I started reacting and getting my seizure aura, so that one was not a sustainable option for me, but I did get a little bit of it in, and it helped a smidge. Then we tried a mineral oil enema.
Mineral oil.
Wiping off the lube so I don't react. I did not do the entire thing of that one because I just had my subtotal colectomy. I'm not allowed to do the large volumes that it would take for a regular enema, but the mineral oil enema was a better option mast cell wise because it does not have any added ingredients or preservatives, and I didn't react to it, but it didn't work at all. Tomorrow I have a GI appointment to try to figure out where to go from here. I've got a few days left of antibiotics, and we need to try to find this infection source before it comes back again after antibiotics like it has the last 3 times. And I really don't want to end up inpatient again for Christmas, but now we've got the infection issue plus the barium complication, but I'm hopeful that it'll work itself out. I've been trying to run extra water through my J-tube, and that just seems to be making matters worse because everything's going in, but it's not coming out. I've been in tons of pain from that, so now that I've taken a break of water, and mind you, I'm only doing 50 mLs of water a day through the J, now that I've stopped that, the pain's lessening, but at the same time I feel like I need to use my gut, so I'm kind of stuck there, but hopefully my GI doctor will have more insight. Right before I was discharged, they checked my liver enzymes one last time. The paperwork for discharge had already been started and the process was rolling. Lo and behold, my liver enzymes were trending back up again, which is kind of concerning. They still chose to discharge me anyways. I'm supposed to have it checked again. I will keep y'all updated on how that goes. I hope everyone is having a good December so far. We are decorating for Christmas. We had started decorating before I was inpatient last week, but we had to stop, and we seem to have lost the entire box of our Christmas ornaments. We had to go out and buy new stuff, so I bought garland, some new stockings,